Hello and welcome again with SS. Now we are going to continue our syllabus with as government have decided. You might have got this thing from Mr. Deepak Purohit. So let's continue within this thing. And now we are going to have our 11th chapter that I told the earlier 10th one. Organs of government was our important chapter to be with us. Now we are going through with another chapter, chapter 11, the judiciary, the impartial form. We can say Indian judiciary. What is Indian judiciary? Now let's continue on the page number 86. It's my kind request to each and every student to be with your textbook. No doubt some of the students told me that sir, we are not watching any video other than maths and this all the science. But this is also needed in your life. No doubt the calculations and formulas comes and goes, but these all such things that is social science. As earlier I have mentioned it many times that this will be needed throughout your life, throughout with your siblings and many other things. So let's continue with our lesson Indian Judiciary chapter 11 on page number 86. We have studied in detail about the two organs of the government, the legislative and the executive. Now, shall study in detail about the third organ of government, the judiciary, which is the independent, statutory and impartial organ of the government. Please underline this saying, which is, means Indian judiciary is independent, statutory and impartial organ of the government. Means judiciary is privileged, it is statutory form we can say, and impartial, there is no partiality within this type organ of government. The Constitution of India provides for a systematic, organized and uniform judiciary system throughout India. Again the important line, the Constitution of India provides for a system, we can say a systematic, organized and uniform judicial system, system whatever you pronounce, throughout India. The Indian judiciary system is in the form of a pyramid hierarchy. How it is? As it is mentioned in the figure, that it suggests like, it looks like a pyramid. We have established a uniform judiciary, and it is at the topmost level there is a Supreme Court, which is apex court. At the middle level there is High Court, and under their jurisdictions are the District Court. At the district level and at taluka level there are local and special court. Understand, say this one word, one line is written over there, that Supreme Court is apex court, and under Supreme Court there are high courts, then district level courts, taluka level courts and other special courts. Apart from that, there are trial courts and tribunal courts, which are established to cater to various objectives. Means again two type of courts are there. There are trial and tribunals, and they are established to cater, means to maintain, to give judgment, to maintain the laws and regulations of the government, cater to various objectives. Here the word is written, various objectives. Now important, why judiciary is important? Importance of judiciary. The neutral and impartial judiciary is essential in the federal system, means the government that we are running over, for the protection and prevention of the rights of the Indian citizen and to solve any incongruity between the center and state, or between one state and the other state. So if there is any incongruity regarding any dispute, then we are having this course regarding a state problem, a state and other states. So many things are derived in this. The judiciary as an important organ as to interrupt constitutionality of any provision of any law, so that the supremacy of the constitution prevails, in order that the legislature or the executive do not violate on any of the constitutional limitations we require in a country. Independent, firm, impartial and fearless judiciary, which is the foundation of democracy. The objective of the Constitution is to see that in the judiciary process there is no far or delay, and the citizen gets quick, cheap and equal justice. You had gone through this whole paragraph. I don't think that you might have understood something by reading once. I'm damn sure that my students are confused in this first paragraph. Obviously, why there is importance of judiciary. Again, I would like to go through this sentence here, some sentences. Because a neutral and impartial justice is essential in the federal system for the protection and prevention of the rights of the Indian citizen, and to solve any incongruity between the center and the state, or between one state and other state regarding the division of workload. So to protect the right of the citizen. Apart from that, incongruity means misunderstanding. It might, we can say, any quarrel regarding any problem. The last word was workload between central, states. So this thing, so we need the what? Judiciary. The judiciary is an important organ as to interrupt constitutionality of any provision of any law, so that supremacy of the constitution prevail. So we can prevail our supremacy of the constitutions, that laws that are derived, that rights that are derived in our constitutions we require in a country. Independent, firm, impartial and fearless judiciary, which is the foundation of democracy. What is the foundation of democracy? Please underline this thing. Independent, firm, impartial and fearless judiciary, which is the foundation of democracy. The objective of Constitution is to see that in the judiciary process there is no flow or delay, and the citizen get kick, chip and equal justice. What the Constitution look after? That each and every person, each and every citizen gets the cheap, impartial, some words are here, equal, flow or delay of the justice. In the presence of alert legislature and executives, the judiciary would always remain active. But many times, due to administrative inactiveness and irresponsibilities of the executives and authorities of the legislature, impartial, cognizant, independent and fearless judiciary has shown judicial inactiveness due to some executives, due to lack of knowledge, it might can be said, yeah, because of their rudeness, because of some corruption in the society, somewhere, sometimes, the judiciary doesn't affect, it loses its efficiency. Now, apex court means Supreme Court. What is Supreme Court? Supreme Court is at the apex of Indian judiciary. As per the Constitution of India, it is the topmost judicial organization. Apex Court means Supreme Court is the apex of Indian judiciary. Apex means high. As per the Constitution of India, it is the topmost judicial organization. It is situated in Delhi. Please underline this thing. All the civil and criminal court of India have to work under the jurisdiction of the Supreme Court. The Supreme Court consists of one Chief Justice and 28 additional judges. Please underline this thing, that Supreme Court consists one Supreme Justice and 28 additional judges. The Chief Justice of the Supreme Court is appointed by the President of India. The number of judges in the Supreme Court is decided by the Parliament. But if the President feels that the workload of the Supreme Court is increased, then the President can appoint additional ad hoc judges, part-time judges we can say, to the Supreme Court as per the provision of the Constitution. So, according to the Constitution, the Chief Justice of the Supreme Court is appointed by the President. Apart, the other 28 judges are there, are decided by the Parliament. If any time need, there is lots and lots of workload, then what happens? President used to appoint judges on the ad hoc level. Except the Chief Justice of the Supreme Court, all the other judges are appointed in the Constitution with the Chief Justice as well as other senior judges. Now, what would be the qualification of the judge? Qualification. A person who is appointed to a judge of the Supreme Court should be, number one, a citizen of India, should have provided a service of at least 5 years as a judge in any one of the High Court of India, or should have an experience of at least 10 years as an advocate in any of the High Court of India, or should be a distinguished judge or a famous jurist as per the opinion of the President, or should not be more than 65 years of age. Thus, the retirement age is 65 years for the judges of the Supreme Court. So, a person who must be a citizen of India, who must be under 65 years of age, either he should be practicing as a judge for at least 5 years in a high court, either he might be a very good justice, or he should be selected by the President. Apart from that, he might be practicing for more than 10 years in any of the High Court of India. Now, what is the time period of this judge of Supreme Court, Chief Justice of Supreme Court? The retirement age is 65 for a judge of Supreme Court. However, the change in the age of the retirement can be made by the Parliament through framing a law. For example, is a person who can work as a Chief Justice apart after 65, then Parliament can decide by framing a law, they can continue him or her as a Chief Justice. They cannot carry the practice of law in any of the Indian courts, but they can provide their service in committees appointed to investigate into uncommon situations or events. Means after being a judge of Supreme Court, after the retirement, they cannot practice as a lawyer, as an advocate. Just they can be a part of the union, a part of the commission, giving advice in certain things, certain criteria, problem. If incapable to carry out their duties before the time of retirement, then under such circumstances they can resign willingly from their post by tendering writing resignation to the president, but the judges can be removed from their post and power if they are found to be guilty of incapability, misconduct or inefficiency. This removal is in accordance with the provision of the Constitution and is carried out through impeachment motion in the Parliament. Please underline this thing. Impeachment motion in the Parliament. Impeachment motion, how? So if a judge is found to be guilty, corrupted, he is not able to work, he is going wrong within the ethics of a judge, then a president can remove, there is impeachment motion in the what is the procedure? The procedure for it is, as of the total member or at least 2/3 member having majority support to the president of the total number of the member and at least, 2/3 number of the member present in the respective session based on the presentation by the orders of the president, the judges can be removed from his post. So in impeachment, 2/3 majority plus president can remove. Of Supreme Court. The Parliament monitors the presentation of the memorandum regarding the misbehavior of the judge and the conducting of the investigation as well as the conducting of the proof for the same. The concerned judge is given the opportunity to present his narration in his self-defense in the Parliament. Then the President of India administers the oath of secretary, and loyalty towards the Constitution to the judges who appoint to the Supreme Court. Before taking the charge of their post, the judges are required to take the oath in oral as well as sign the pledge. They have to sign the pledge as well as they have to take oath orally given by the President of India. Now, the main somewhat point, every time students gets this question over there regarding the power and jurisdiction of the Supreme. What are the power? We will call SC, Supreme Court. Then what is original jurisdiction? And number 2, what is appellate jurisdiction? what are the powers and jurisdiction of the Supreme Court, how it works, what power it consists within it. So we will discuss it. Let's go on page number 87. The Supreme Court of India possesses more powers and has vast jurisdiction in the comparison to any other country of the world. Please underline this thing, the Supreme Court of India, it possesses more power and has vast jurisdiction in comparison to any country of the world. The jurisdiction can be divided into original jurisdiction and appellate jurisdiction and advisory jurisdiction. So let's go within what is original jurisdiction. When a court has a power to directly give judgment after hearing a case, such a power is known as original jurisdiction. When a court has right to give direct judgment, then it is called original jurisdiction, and the Supreme Court has the power to make decision regarding to any case, regarding to the case, which no other court has. Only the Supreme Court has the power to give original jurisdiction. Under this jurisdiction, the following parties should be late jurisdiction and whose conflicts are resolved by the Supreme Court. Under this jurisdiction, the following parties should be involved, which are they to whom the Supreme Court can give directly jurisdiction. Who are there? Which parties are there? Let's go. It has the power to settle the dispute between the government of India and one or more state. So it has the power to give direct jurisdiction to the case involving any problem regarding government of India and other states, one or more states. Then it has the power of resolving difference of opinion, fight or conflicts between the government of India and one or more states on the other side and one or more state on the other side. So if there is a partition regarding for any particular problem, for example, we can say there was a problem regarding the height of the dam on the river Narmada. Madhya Pradesh state, Madhya Pradesh and other state, they told they need more water. Gujarat, Rajasthan and other state, they told that they need more water. So there was a conflict between this, and this case was settled down by the Supreme Court. It has complete power to give judgment regarding fights or quarrel between states and states. The Supreme Court has the right to give judgment concerning any set of union government or constitutionally. So it has the right, but it gives the jurisdiction according to the Constitution. It has the power to protect and preserve the fundamental rights of the citizen of India. Moreover, it is empowered to issue of habeas corpus, memorandums or an order of prohibition. So the government has, the Supreme Court has the power that each and every citizen should get the real justice. Apart from that, it gets the power for habeas corpus. Apart from that, in order for the prohibition too. It is not in the jurisdiction of the Supreme Court to settle dispute related to the distribution of river waters between states or states. A separate water tribunal gives judgment. The judgment of the Supreme Court is final and it cannot be challenged anywhere. they have to respect by all. So the Supreme Court have within his power, every power within its, and the dispute can be between the states and personal. For example, if a criminal commits a crime, then he can go to the Supreme Court for his justice. From the lower court to the taluka level court, to the district level court, to the high court, and then he can appeal in the Supreme Court, and even the Supreme Court can give him, what we can say, it diminished the justice given by the lower court, and when it is his or her any problematic case is solved regarding the Supreme Court, and it gives the perfect jurisdiction. So it admires the constitutional rules and regulation. Yet we will stop this session of today here because of time consuming, but try to read this thing, what is called, how the Supreme Court judges are appointed, what it is an apex court. Now we will go what are the other peculiarities of the court, Supreme Court, in our next session. Till that, I would like to thank you very much.